Welcome to NTV Exclusive. I'm your host, Abul Hasnath. We've got 1 hour of very tricky and very slippery topic to deal with today. I've got very special guests with me, and no doubt I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, and I'll give you my my introduction to them as well, because I'm very pleased to have them. And this particular topic, which most of you know, I'm terrible with my politics. I'm going to need all the assistance I can get. But what is the purpose of the program today? So, as the title will be coming up very shortly at the bottom of the screen, we are talking about the rise of Trump and the West. So we're going to be looking at Trump since his inauguration, what he's been doing. I'm sure those of you that have been following the news have seen how erratic he's been. And yes, he didn't shut his Twitter down for all of those that are following. Naughty, naughty. But yes, then we're looking at Brexit after that. And what's going on with Brexit and the triggering of Article 50. We'll be touching on that. And then in the final segment, we probably want to bring it localised again. What does it mean for us here in the UK? What does it mean for us here in England? What does it mean for some of us here in the South East, in London, maybe even Tower Hamlets? We're going to cover as much as we can in a short space of time. I will be having the telephone lines off today just because we've got so much to cover. But by all means, our email will be coming across the bottom of the screen. You're welcome to send any emails through. If we don't get to address them in the show today, no doubt I'll get someone to send your response through. But I'm going to go over to my left to start with. I have my good friend here, Adnan Pavel. Thank you for coming. I should get a handshake in there as well.
Thank you very much.
And those of you that have seen some of the previous programs I've done with Adnan, he's very involved in the politics. He's done a fair amount of blogging as well, and the American politics. And as you know, during the American elections, Adnan kindly came on to give us a very detailed and I would to some extent call it forensic outlook on the election. So thank you, Adnan, for being here. And I welcome back Elaine Bagshaw. Let's get a handshake in there.
Thank you.
Elaine,
Thank you for having me.
Elaine is the parliamentary spokesperson for Poplar and Limehouse, and also part of Liberal Democrats. And hopefully Elaine is going to give us an outlook and also a local outlook on what the future holds with what's going on in the world. Elaine, I think I'm going to come straight over to you to start with, because really, since Trump's inauguration, and I despise it even more because it was on the 20th of January, which is my daughter's birthday, so taking that context out of it, so I'm never going to forget it. But since his inauguration, it's been epic. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, well, it's been a bit of a roller coaster that it hasn't stopped at all. I think when he won the election, there were a lot of people that made themselves feel better by saying, well, he'll be calmed down now. He goes into the system will put the brakes on him, and actually it will be all right. He'll end up being a bit of a lame duck. We don't need to worry. And instead, it has been even worse than I think any of us imagined. And there's now an incredibly racist travel ban for people that are from predominantly Muslim countries. There's his Twitter, which not only has he not shut down, he loves a bit of caps lock, and attacking whether it's celebrities, other countries, tweeting about the wall that he wants to build in Mexico and then getting into fights with former Mexican presidents. This is not what the man who's in the most powerful office in the world should be doing. It's not the kind of thing that we expect. And it's been quite terrifying as well how he's attacked everything that is meant to balance his power. So the attacks on the media and him saying he's going to throw people's credentials away if they write things about him he doesn't like. There's been the attacks on the judiciary, and so this week where he said that he said he'd take judges to court when they said they didn't like something he'd done, which is incredible in itself.
Absolutely. Wow.
So yeah, it's been pretty terrifying. And I think as well, the reaction of the international community for me has been really poor, because Theresa May just flew over there as soon as she could with open arms, shaking his hand, basically trying to say everything was fine. And that's not the kind of thing that I would want for my Prime Minister. And I feel like more people should have spoken out. If he was in any of the 7 countries that he's banned people from travelling from and saying those things, there would be absolute uproar. And just because he's in the White House doesn't make it okay.
A question immediately pops to mind is sort of prior to the inauguration. Maybe let's go a bit further back and prior to him winning the election. The world was expecting this, weren't they?
I don't think so. Well, after Brexit, I was expecting it. I kind of lost all of that. Anything could happen after that. But he was always seen as, he could never possibly win. and it was very rose-tinted, filtered glasses that I think everyone looked at it from and just said, no, actually, the American system is built so that this could never happen. This will be fine. It's all going to be okay. And I think we were very complacent. So people didn't get behind Hillary like they should have. Bernie Sanders in the selection campaign damaged Hillary quite a lot. And I think that is another reason why we ended up where we were. And there were plenty of people who didn't vote for either Trump or Hillary and voted for a third candidate, and that essentially handed Donald Trump the presidency because lots of people just sat there and went, well, this could never possibly happen, so I'm okay to vote some other way.
It's interesting. I just want to comment on that because I think it was only a few weeks ago I was watching a debate between a Muslim and a Christian scholar. Well, debate. No, they actually had a dialogue because they're actually now getting together.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. The Reverend, he was commenting that why obviously. I say obvious, it is pretty much obvious reasons why he chose not to vote for Trump. But then it's very interesting why he chose not to vote for Hillary. And as a reverend and a community leader, I mean, he said Hillary, the fact that she supported the abortion and she supported gay rights, something completely against, well, all the people of the book, Christian, Jews and Muslims, you know, sort of diverted in that way. And do you think that sort of plays a role in what's happened?
It definitely does. Politics in America are, you know, it's meant to be a free country where state and church are separated, but it really isn't, and we see that all the time. We saw that at the end of last year when the Supreme Court judge passed away and the House refused to let Obama nominate someone else because they wanted to wait for Trump because they knew he would nominate a conservative. So it plays into everything all the time. And I think this is one of those situations where unfortunately, the amount of people, I think those people are always in the system and probably vote the same way and would not have voted Democrat even when Barack Obama was running. I think it's all of the other people that were the swing voters. It was the, you know, the young people that didn't go out and vote for Hillary. It was the women that didn't support Hillary. And I'm sure people have their reasons, but looking at Trump and what he's doing, you know, the 3,000 odd people that in a swing state went and wrote in Harambe, which was the gorilla that was killed after attacking a child in a zoo. You know, I have a real problem with those people because they are partly to blame for what's happening now.
I mean, that smoothly brings me over to you, actually, Adnan, because Trump now, I mean, just commenting on some of the stuff that Elaine has said, and I probably want you to also look at Trump's now international relationships. I mean, what's your views and comments on that?
Well, I think Trump is divorcing all the good allies that America having after Second World War. They have, you know, as she mentioned, he has only Theresa May beside him at this moment. I mean, look the way Canada reacted. He had a very intense phone call with Australian Prime Minister.
Australia, Putin. Yes. I mean,
exactly. I mean, Australia is one of the you know, greatest ally of America all the time. He had a very intense phone conversation with him, and immediately after that, I mean, of course, Donald Trump is not a very conventional president. We all know that. But as she mentioned, that after his inauguration, we were expecting him to be a little bit calm and gentle. But he doesn't mind to put all the stuffs on Twitter. You know, immediately after that conversation, he put on Twitter, bad deal. I have to study all the bad deals. I mean, the deal was, it happened when President Obama was in power, and they had a deal about refugee. He is saying illegal immigrants. It's not illegal immigrants. I mean, in terms of definition, there is a difference between illegal immigrants and refugee. America has agreed to take a very little amount of, you know, refugees from Australia, and he's saying it's a bad deal. He's not having a very good relationship with Germany. You know, Obama and Chancellor of Germany, they had very good relationship. You know, so but he is having good relationship with Putin. I mean, all the time he is defending Putin. So I think having Donald Trump at White House, America is losing all their traditional allies back Second World War, and they are making new allies. I mean, Soviet Union and America, they always had problem, you know, after Second World War. But Nowadays, it looks like Putin is defending Trump, Trump is defending Putin. And America's ideology and Russia's ideology can't be same, you know. I mean, it's a free world, and their political ideology, their economics, everything is different. They are based on capitalism, they are based in, you know, communism. So, you know, there are lots of differences. But I think, you know, it's a new world. We're living in a very uncertain, dangerous new world. Europe was one of the biggest ally of America all the time in terms of economy, in terms of foreign affairs, in terms of security issues. Donald Trump doesn't like NATO. Well, I understand he has a concern about the member state, how much money they are spending. But if you look into the member states, every year they are increasing their budget. But we have to recognize that not everyone can pay 2% of their GDP. As for example, East European countries, you know, they are struggling with their own problem, their economy. But every year they are increasing their budget for defense. But if he expects them to increase their budget to 2% of their GDP straight away, that's not going to be possible. So he doesn't like NATO. He doesn't like European Union. He thinks Greece will come out of European Union. So, you know, he's not having a good phone conversation with Australian Prime Minister. So I think all this sort of stuff proves that America is coming out of their allies, and they're making new allies. And we never know whether this ally will be a good one for the world or not. You know, but it looks like we're living in very uncertain and dangerous world.
It's really funny because I think it was in The Guardian that was published. Actually, well, it was worldwide. Ultimately, Trump sort of commenting that he expects to see the rest of Europe following in the lines of Brexit, which I'm not going to go into, and we can hold it off for our second segment because I have a couple of minutes left, and I'm just going to quickly come over to you, Elaine, because let's not forget the ban on Muslims. Those 7 countries, and I mean, it's public information that it's amazing the 7 countries he's chosen, and yet none of them are the nationalities of the 9/11 attackers. I mean, what's your view on that?
I think, well, just coming back to your point about the relationship with Putin, and yeah, America as a country is very different, but actually I think you've got 2 very similar personalities. Trump would like everything to be as it is for Putin, so he is all about control, and that's what you're seeing with the ban on Muslims. He doesn't care that there is no evidence for it. He doesn't like that particular group of people. He knows that it builds his support base, not liking that particular group and therefore advocating against them. And so he writes his executive orders. He's come out today, I think, and said that he's going to rewrite the executive order for next week in a way that he thinks the courts then can't challenge. Because that's, you know, that's what he is building his support structure on. It's all about he's creating this other group of people that everyone in America is supposedly threatened by, despite the fact that we know that that's not true. And just he will constantly hammer them. I think, sadly, this ban is just the beginning. And even if the courts do manage to keep challenging things and overturning them, he's just going to keep going back for more.
I mean, yeah, just going on the ban, just before we go on break, I mean, what's the British people's view on that then?
Well, I think, you know, there's a mixed reaction. As for example, Nigel Farage, one of the leading politicians, he keeps changing his view about Trump. When Donald Trump decided to run as a president, when he said he wants to ban Muslims, you know, Nigel Farage was against it. Nowadays he started saying, oh, you know, there is a reason why he wants to ban that. But I think, going back to the point she made, is if you want to isolate people, you know, you are risking your own security. You know, you can only ensure security of your country, of your society, by making everyone that they are welcome here, they are part of the community. But if you want to, you know, isolate them, defranchisement can lead to further problem. You know, so it's a big security issue as well.
Yeah. We're going to go for a quick break, and I don't think we can quite leave this topic as much as we'd like to. As we just said, the ban on Muslims, is that a propaganda for ISIL and all those crazy groups? We don't know. We're going to go for a quick break. When we're back, we're going to continue and also look at Brexit and Theresa May. I'll see you shortly.